This is the Rita Cosby Show.
The big decision today by the U.S. Supreme Court putting abortion rights back to the states, which, if you look at the Constitution, many constitutional scholars are very clear, and most of them say, look, it's not in the Constitution. This was the right decision to go back to the states. It looked like that's what they were going to do, the Supreme Court, based on the leak, and they kept pretty much true to what was in the leak. So where do you think it goes from here? What was your reaction today? I want to get your thoughts tonight on the Rita Cosby Show. We're going to be taking your calls about this very emotional, very heated topic. The number's 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Do you believe it was the right decision by the Supreme Court? Were you surprised that they stuck to their views, because there was clearly a lot of stuff going on with the leak? There were threats outside Supreme Court justices' homes. We saw, of course, their home addresses, their kids' addresses out there, the schools of their kids, their churches. There was so much information that was basically put out there that was basically putting pressure on the highest justices in the land to basically, hopefully, change their opinion, which to me was just outrageous. Some of these threats that we saw even before, as soon as the leak came out, were so over the top. And today I say shame on the way that this president handled it, because it was outrageous. He comes down and speaks out soon after the decision came out from the Supreme Court. And immediately he gets right in his political swing. He really is sort of like ginning up his base, really revving up his base, clearly saying, oh, it's on the ballot, made it very much a political issue. He also blasted President Trump. He can't help but do that in every single sentence, I think, that he makes. And to me, this guy is just one big political machine. But I will say that if you look at the response tonight and you looked at even the response after the leak, I think first off, these groups are out of control. So many of these protesters are completely out of control, and the Democrats have to rein them in, because there was already a guy who was planning to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh, remember, and shows up out of his home, a California guy who shows up outside of his house. You know, you can't be having that. That is just scary stuff. And the Department of Justice never condemned it. President Biden never condemned it. Anybody at the White House, from the spokesperson, they didn't condemn it. And even today, when President Biden was telling everybody, well, you should be kind of peaceful when you're out there, he said it so tepidly. And he said it without such passion. It was like, get out there and vote. You've got to make sure you get out there. You got to make sure you do this. And then he said, and you know what? Things should be peaceful. It was like, what? Are you kidding me? You have already seen an assassination attempt, a planned killing of a Supreme Court justice. And this is after many people on your side were revving up these groups. And now all you can do is say, oh, well, things should be sort of peaceful. To me, there is such an irresponsible tone to this president's voice, because you can already see it on the streets of America tonight. There are so many people that are out there and that are protesting. There are thousands in New York. There are thousands in Chicago. There are thousands in LA, and they are all over the place. So tonight, I want to hear, first of all, your thoughts, because I love this show, because I always look at it like a town hall where we can all share our opinions and our views. What do you make of the Supreme Court's decision? What do you make of the fact that the left already is making it sound like abortion is illegal now as a result of that? And that is not the case. What the decision basically is that they are sending it back now to the states. And a number of states will continue to allow it. They may limit it, some may ban it, but a lot will continue to allow it. So in a number of states, nothing's going to change. And in a lot of states, it will be obviously on a case-by-case basis. It'll be up to legislators. They make it clear, a lot of constitutional experts, it's not in the Constitution. So a lot of people are saying, oh, now abortion is totally outlawed. They're also saying same-sex marriage is outlawed. Interracial marriage is outlawed. Where are you getting all this? Gay rights are outlawed. None of that is in there. None of that. They are totally playing politics and really revving up their base. And I think it is utterly dangerous, especially in the climate that we have already seen. And we've already seen riots in many of our cities across America. We remember it. It wasn't that long ago. And they are calling for this group called Jane's Revenge. They are calling for a night of rage, rioting, looting, burning, and saying it's not just going to be a night. Now they want to push it into a summer of that. We already saw that a couple summers ago. Do we really want to see that again in American cities? That is not the way to express yourself. And Democrats like President Biden and Kamala Harris and all these others have to start saying, enough. This is not the way to do it. And they are allowing even themselves basically to vilify the Supreme Court justices. We're heading into really dangerous territory. And so to me, this is really concerning. And I want to get your thoughts on, first of all the threats, the lack of condemnation from the president and so many others, which to me is irresponsible. And also what you think it means for upcoming elections. There's primaries next week. New York, for example, has a primary in the governor's race. And also you got to look at other places around the country, a number of other big primaries. And of course, you've got the midterms coming up in November and then the presidential race. And already they are stirring the pot, and it is a dangerous pot to stir. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And you are listening to The Rita Cosby Show. First off, here's a little bit of protesters outside the White House today. Take a listen to their chants. Wow, that's a lot of passion right there. And then Amy Klobuchar, Democrat who ran for president, well, she stirred the pot too. She's an attorney. And yet, listen to what she said.
The filibuster, which of course I don't support, I'd get rid of it, but it's a 60-vote threshold. And we have senators out there that are out and out talking about putting in legislation on the Republican side to ban abortion. To me, the answer is simple. It's November. It's the ballot box. That's what it is. And the women of this country and the men that support them, and it is not just Democrats, moderate Republicans, independents, understand this is a step too far. Enough is enough. You cannot get rid of a right that's been there for 50 years with the argument that the word abortion was never in the Constitution. The word woman isn't in the Constitution. She isn't in the Constitution. The Air Force isn't in the Constitution. They are literally taking us backwards. The answer to me is to fight to November and to elect candidates that are going to uphold the woman's right to trust that she can make the decision for herself, between her doctor, with her family, but that they don't want Ted Cruz making those decisions.
That they don't want Ted Cruz. So they're calling people out by name. They are also blasting justices by name. Remember, it wasn't that long ago when Chuck Schumer was out there and he was saying, you know what, we're Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, we're coming for you. You won't know what hit you. You know, I mean, what kind of, you'll feel the whirlwind calling them by name. And is it any surprise that they're the ones getting threats and that Kavanaugh had a guy planning to kill him showing up outside of his house? And yet the decision hadn't even come down yet. And now that it's come out, they are not tempering the flames. They are fueling the flames. And that is an outrage. And that is very dangerous. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to JC in Pennsylvania. Line 8. Go ahead, JC, your thoughts.
It's a very complex situation in three parts, okay? There's a morality part, there's a political part, and then there's a rule of law part, okay? So the morality part is hard to say because you think of it this way. You are killing a baby, okay? So if you go 12, 14 weeks past that point, you got a baby there. And the people that are letting you go right to the end, you're killing a grown baby, okay? So I can't judge it either way, but it's too bad that we can't have one size fits all. It's going to have to be left to the states, and in some way that's even.
Oops, and we're losing you. Hey, JC, we need a better connection with you. Can you get into a better place?
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah, much better. Go ahead.
Okay. The second part is the political part, okay? You know as well as I do, a lot of the people.
Oops, JC, you're dropping off. You got to call us back. We'll take you back another time. Let's go to Tom on line 6. Tom, your thoughts about all this. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my call. I just want to say that you don't usually hear this on the air, but the bottom line is this, whatever you want to call him, he's not the president, is a real jerk. He's not only that, he's a murderer. Forget the word abortion. It's murder. And these kids that are out there, because a lot of them are young ladies, they're out there, picketing and doing all these different crazy things and saying they're going to threaten this and threaten that. And the bottom line is they don't realize that down the road, and this is very typical of the Democratic Party, they don't see the future. Down the road, they're going to feel guilt and shame, depression, anxiety when they're getting closer to death, especially when they start getting sick. They're going to start thinking, oh, my God, maybe I did something wrong. And then somewhere in the Bible, they're going to read, no murderer will inherit the kingdom of God. And when they see that, that's going to disturb them like you would not believe. So, yeah, have your fun now. Fly now. Pay later.
Wow. A lot of passion there, Tom. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Frank in Ontario. Line 4, your thoughts.
Hello, Rita. Hope everything's going okay. Like I said, I listen, and it's like this is just one thing after another. Now they're going back to the abortion thing, and the Supreme Court ruled on it. Well, let it be. And I'm not going to give sides on either way, but the Democrats, all they're doing is commotion, because they know, like you said yourself and many other people I listen to, they're underwater, and they know it. And I can't wait for November, and I'm sure the people of America are very smart, and they've had enough of this bullcrap.
Now, let me ask you, Frank, because you are there in Ontario. How do they look at America? What are they thinking right now?
I was always brought up to respect America, and through my parents, and I've had arguments on the street within a week. And people doing this and saying, oh, Trump this and Trump that. And I'm like, you know what? I said, you don't know the facts. I said, look at the facts. I said, you like paying $5 a gallon for gas? We pay a liter here, which basically ends up the same. And I said the food prices. And I said, Biden keeps blaming Putin. I'm sorry, but it's clear there. I said, look it up on your phone or Google it or whatever you want to do. It'll tell you. This began way before that.
Oh, and by the way, Frank, even so much that, his Fed chair, Jerome Powell, this week came out and said, indeed, yeah, he was asked under oath. Well, when did inflation start? Didn't it start before Putin? Oh, yes, it definitely started. Absolutely before. And it was sort of like, wow, somebody in the administration finally told the truth. But it's so transparent to the average American. And I do think, look, President Biden has a 33% approval rating right now. That is abysmal. And he could use anything he can to try to galvanize his base, because when you look at 33%, that includes many Democrats who are just shaking their heads going, I can't believe this guy is our president, let alone independents and conservatives. But even Democrats are saying, and they're starting to say it out loud. And so anything he can do to galvanize his base, to get them to vote. They're very worried about losing the House. They're very worried about losing the Senate. And anything that they can do to get people to get out and vote for Democrats that will lure them to get there, they will do. They'll pull out any stop, and they need something. They need a Hail Mary. And I do think this will galvanize the left. There's no question about it. The question is, his ratings, his polls are so bad. Even if they get galvanized, is it enough to have an impact?